Hello everyone. Today I'm going to try something a bit different. We're going to try and amalgamate some English work and some art, of course. And we're going to focus on poetry. And we don't do an awful lot of poetry in school, which is a real shame. Poetry is almost like playing games with words and with letters and how it looks on the page. And it can be exciting if you allow yourself to think that way. So we're going to have a go at writing a poem. It's going to have 4 lines, and we're going to use as few words as we possibly can. And it's going to be a poem for today. So I'm going to look out in front of me here, and I'm going to write 4 words of things that I can see directly outside my window. So the first thing I can see my eye goes straight to is the blue sky. Sky, 1 word. I can see the blue sky. I can see white fluffy clouds. I can see green grass, and I see lots and lots of leaves. So those are my 4 words to start off with. I'm going to write 4 lines with these words as the focus of each line, and we're going to use as little words as possible, and we're going to have a little bit of rhyming, because rhyming is quite fun. If you think of 1 word, sky, and then you allow your mind to think about different words that rhyme with sky, and you pick one that you think that goes quite well. So if I start off with blue sky, because I'm describing it, and what would rhyme with sky? Fly, high, pie, tie, all sorts of things. I'm going to go for fly. That's quite an obvious one, isn't it? So blue sky. And what flies? Birds fly. Okay, blue sky, comma, birds fly. And I've got my rhyme here like this. Clouds. What can I say about the clouds? Well, they're huge today. So I'm going to call them huge clouds. What's in the clouds? What are the clouds? What are they for? Well, the rain forms up there. So clouds are to do with rain. So huge clouds, rain, and they sort of encapsulate the rain. They hold the rain. There's thousands of tons up there. That is incredible to me. Huge clouds, rain shrouds. Now that rhymes with clouds. Anybody know what a shroud is? Slightly gloomy. A shroud is a cloth that's put around a dead person. So the rain is up in the sky. It's got shrouds, cloud all around it, and it's waiting for its resurrection when it falls down on the ground and brings great refreshment. So that's my idea about that. Grass. What can we say about the grass? Green grass. Well, that's very obvious, isn't it? Can I think of a better word? What's the grass like at this time of year? Well, it's spring, so it's nice and fresh. Fresh grass. Silky. Silky grass. A word that rhymes with grass. Pass. Last is a kind of a half rhyme. Pass. What we could put? Silky grass. Long. Because it's growing now, isn't it? Long. Pass. How would you justify that? Silky grass. Long. Pass. What might you do in long grass? You might walk through it, mightn't you? So you'd be walking past it. So silky grass, long to pass. So I'm going to walk through the silky green grass. And the last one is leaves. What can we say about the leaves? What are they doing at this time of year? Well, there's lots of fresh ones and new ones. New leaves. Let's put new leaves. Think of a better word than new. Newborn leaves. Newborn leaves. Try that one. That's a kind of hyphen word, isn't it? Newborn leaves. What rhymes with leaves? Trees is kind of a half rhyme there. Leaves, please. Weave. Grieve. Newborn leaves. So I've got newborn leaves. Majestic. Trees. So it's not a full rhyme there, kind of a half rhyme. Those still work. Okay, let's see what we've come up with for our poem. Blue sky, birds fly. Huge clouds, rain shrouds. I wonder if you noticed what I've done there. In my hurry, I've left out the R. Put the R in there. Huge clouds, rain shrouds, silky grass, long to pass, newborn leaves, majestic trees. And this here is not quite right either, so I'm going to do my corrections here, so that when I come to do my calligraphy at the end, I won't have to worry about the spelling, because it's all correct on my board here, or if you have a piece of paper, it's correct on your paper. Next is I'm going to think about how I'm going to do some sort of visual decoration around this, or a visual presentation. So I leave that there like that. Okay, today I'm going to introduce some art equipment. I've got some little paint brushes here. Some are thick and some are a bit thinner. And I've got a little tray here of watercolour paints. Now you can buy these in the supermarket really, really cheaply. They're not expensive at all. And I know you've all had a go at working with these in school, so you'll know what to do. But I might just remind you a little bit, if that's okay. I'm going to do our background for my poem that we've just written in 5 minutes. And I want to turn this bit of paper here into a kind of a background, a nice watercolour design. It's going to be very loose, it's going to be very impressionistic, it's not going to be detailed or anything like that. And then when it dries, I will have a go at doing some calligraphy, and I can write my poem onto my piece of paper. So that's my plan. Now, I'm doing the best I can here. I'm going to start off with, the first one was blue sky, wasn't it? So I'm going to get some blue sky going here. I'm going to use a thicker brush. My water pot is just an old food container. And I've got a lovely blue here. It doesn't matter how many blues we mix, we can never really come up with the same blue as the sky, or as many blues as are in the sky. Now you see I'm doing this quite freely. This is not this is done quite quickly, just like our poem was. A little impressionistic background. You can use water to shade, like this here. You can go out to the sides if you want to, or we can leave it quite unfinished. So I've got my blue there. It also talks about my huge cloud. So I've got a bit of a cloud thing going on here. Perhaps I need a little bit of this darker blue to add a little bit of dimension. And I want my water to smudge this up like this, like a kind of shading. So my clouds were holding the rain tightly. Maybe it'll come down later for all we know. Okay, what's next? Silky grass. So I'm going in the bottom here now, do some greens. Again, there's an old song called the 40 Shades of Green, which is I think it's an old Irish song, and we're gonna do some green here, but I don't think I'm going to get 40 shades, but we'll give it our best shot. Again, if you use the water, it helps you to shade out things. I've got here a kind of lime green as well, which is quite interesting. You might see leaves with that kind of colour because it's spring now, and they're all springing up nice and new in the parks. I hope you got to the park at some point last week. Maybe this week we'll be allowed to do some more stuff in our lockdown situation. What else do I need now? Newborn leaves and majestic trees. Not sure about the trees. I might leave the trees out, but I might do some, might put some leaves in. So if I put some leaf shapes and a little small detail amount here like this. I like the way this brush is thick and thin. It's a bit like a calligraphy pen. If you do it quite quickly, and I'm trying not to get too hung up about, you know, oh, it doesn't look like this, that or the other. Yes, we're looking for a nice effect. We're not looking for a photograph. You know, it's not a photograph. It'll never be a photograph unless I take a photograph of it. And then it'll be a photograph. Okay, those are my leaves. What else do I need? I think that'll be okay. Rain shrouds. I think some yellow would be nice in this. How could we get the yellow in this? We could do a yellowy green, couldn't we? Yeah, I like that. Alright, and I think that's enough, because what we're going to do is put the text on the dry paper whenever it's dry. Okay everyone, I've got my background ready. Because it's watercolour on paper, the paper tends to go wrinkly. So what you can do, when it's nearly dry, you can slightly iron it with a cool iron, and that helps the paper smooth down a little bit. So I'm going to write on my words now. I've got one go at this, so I've got to think carefully about what I'm doing. Blue sky, birds fly, huge clouds, rain shrouds, silky grass, long to pass, newborn leaves, majestic trees. So I'm going to think carefully about what I'm doing. I might not do it in 4 rows, I might do it slightly differently. See what happens. So this is my, I'm using a very thin calligraphy pen here. This is 2.0, so this is 2mm nib, and I'm just going to make up my own font. I'm not really going to look at a book and try and copy anything. So blue sky, birds fly. Blue sky, birds fly. This is a good idea to just watch your spelling, because we can't rub this out and all my pens are rolling away. There we go. Blue sky, birds fly, huge clouds, rain shrouds, silky grass, long to pass, newborn leaves, majestic trees. Right, so that's our little activity for today. We had a bit of English in there, and we had some painting in there, we had some calligraphy in there, and hopefully you had a lot of fun as well. If it's Mother's Day or Father's Day or Granny and Grandad's Day, whatever, you could give this as a little present to them if you fancy that. I'm sure they would love that. And if you find yourself with some extra money, you can buy a little frame at the supermarket. You can get those frames that haven't got any frames on them at all. It's just like plastic and it's held together with little pins. So that would look quite nice in there. So I look forward to seeing your designs. Please send me some pictures, and I hope you have a lovely time doing this at home. Bye!